Welcome to Transatlantic Wrestling Talk. I am your host, Andy. As always, joined by the co-host, Dale. How we doing, my bro?
Mr. Andy, welcome. WrestleMania will be next week in the live universe that we live in. We revisited about 20 some odd years, correct? Almost, give or take.
28, is it? 27, 28?
Maybe something like that. Yeah. But that's right, 28 years. So we revisited WrestleMania 10. I believe you and I were 10 at that point, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So that way we figured, hey, why not just look into this classic event. I think last week we were actually talking about how we should look into this because, you know, a lot of things changed when we looked at 13, or I think it was 13. We saw how Austin and Brett had this great rivalry going on, but Brett turned heel throughout the night. Let's see when he was one of the best baby faces in the world. All right. So we go back to 10, and what a time it was to be a wrestling fan.
It was, and it went back to Madison Square Garden at this one as well, which was really good. And do you know what? One thing I noticed straight away with this one was the use of quite a lot of celebrities, as we've come to gather in WrestleManias. Obviously, nowadays, you know, Burt Reynolds was never going to have a match at Mania, was he? But now we're getting the celebrities having matches at Mania, which is an evolution, isn't it?
Of course, yes.
Can I just ask who that girl was? The blonde-haired one.
Marla Maples. So, okay. So on USA, remember after they would have Monday Night Raw, you'd have shows like Silk Stockings.
You guys, because I am from the UK, my friend.
So, all right. So Marla Maples had nice breasticles, and she would be the host, I guess you could say, of the shows that would be after Raw. So that would go on from 10 p.m. because Raw was a 1 hour show at that point, which they should go back to, or 2 hours. But Marla was the host of Up All Night. So we would have shows like Silk Stockings, some other softcore stuff that didn't show boobies, but you wanted it. And then Renegade. So you needed somebody to tie in Lorenzo Lamas actually coming to the forefront of TV. So that's who Marla Maple was. And she was definitely kind of cute, right?
Yes, she looked all right. To be honest, I just didn't know who she was. That was the biggest thing with me. I was like, who is this woman and what's she doing on my television?
But also when we did 7, you saw Regis, you saw Alex Trebek, and there was some other chick that we had no idea.
Who was the other one on there? Wahlberg? Was that Mark Wahlberg's dad by any chance?
That's
because I don't know.
Brother. That's his
brother. Is it?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, New Kids on the Block. Yeah, that was him from.
God, yeah, it is, isn't it? Jesus.
Step by step.
Yeah, I remember them. Like, unfortunately, what does he say one time? Eminem, the New Kids on the Block suck a lot of dick.
Chinese food makes me sick. Yes. So, see, we could go back. We're not just going back to wrestling, folks. We're pop culture icons here. So, anyway, yeah. So we have a lot of celebrities. They appear, not too in your face like they were for 7, but this one was kind of fun. And we're starting off, Little Richard sings America the Beautiful, very long. You know, it's just like, I like how they bring the choirs in for stuff, but know your fan base.
Yeah.
You know, although the best part was when McMahon brought him in and said, "The original bad boy of rock and roll."
And he found Mark Mero to replace him. Or so he thought.
Wow. Yeah, it's so bad. Good God, and Miss Molly. So anyway, but we didn't care about that because we get introduced with the King stutters, and they go right into the greatest match. One of the best matches, I'll say, that you and I will ever talk about on this show.
Yes. And also the best, and I don't give a shit what anybody says, the best opening match of a WrestleMania ever. It's
interesting that you say that. There might be a little list that Dale did for a certain wrestle buddy that might actually talk about that, disclose that this is the best one ever. But to be continued. I love the fact that they start off with, I forget who the announcer was. It wasn't Finkel at the time, but he says, "From Ontario, Canada," and the crowd stands up. They're waiting. I'm sorry, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. They're standing up. They're about to cheer for Brett, and you hear, and you hear Owen. Owen comes out with the glasses. It's just
his song was brilliant, wasn't it?
The best, bro.
Yeah.
I always say back in the 80s and 90s, you could play a game called "Is it porno music or is it theme songs from wrestlers in the 80s and 90s?" This one you just knew with the Rocket, and he comes out and he knows he's the best. You and I know he's the best. It was awesome. Brett comes out. What? Let's not to talk about the matches doing it a discredit. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can see that these two guys have just seen each other time and time again. I love the little things on this, even from the start of the match, where Owen, first of all, rips up his shades. Thought that was class. In the opening exchanges, if Owen got the better of Brett, and the crowd are eating out the palm of his hand, booing him and all the rest of it. It was, from the get-go, it was just spot on. It really was spot on.
The chain wrestling in the beginning was something to behold of, and when people do that now and today, I do appreciate it. It doesn't happen too often, but it's nice to see. Just the fact that it was just nice back and forth, and that brought it back to the days of the dungeon for both of these guys. So just classic work. And then usually when you have these heel babyface grudge matches, they fight fair, and then the heel starts healing up, and that's when Owen kicks the leg out of the leg.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go too much into this match because it needs to be seen. I think everybody that's a wrestling fan should watch it this week.
Yes,
just to realize how incredible this was.
110% it needs to be watched. Just awesome.
The ending is an attempted victory roll from Brett to Owen. Owen stops him, rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. Owen beats Brett. Crowd is shocked.
Yeah.
Shocked. Yeah, you can't. I think this was probably a really bold choice on the Federation's, clout at that point. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, really, really would. And do you know what? Is there anything that you noticed about the finish?
Besides how hushed and silent the crowd was, and the fact that Brett got the look of.
Mm-hmm. And also, it's the second time Brett's being beat by a family member in the same kind of way. Bulldog 92.
Yeah, that's true.
Same thing again. Obviously, Brett was the one calling the shots on this one, the same way he was there. Really liked it. It come out of nowhere, which is always good. But yeah, I thought it was very similar to the Bulldog finish.
It was great, and the fighting of back and forth. And there's one other thing I want to point out here. Jerry Lawler was a heel on commentary. He wasn't as egregious as he usually was, but there was something where they had a shot of Owen applying, I believe, the sharpshooter or Boston Crab at some point to Brett. And Owen looked over. What you see, Owen looks over at Lawler, and Lawler gives him a thumbs up. And that's just long-term. I'm not going to say storytelling, but it's just keeping it kayfabe throughout the entirety. I love that, man. I'll
tell you one thing I did like as well on this, and he really should get kudos for it, is when he wins the match, how shocked did Owen look as well that he beat him?
Armed, he's laying on the ground, arm raised, great visuals, underrated visuals going on. And
the only
it's a
thing
theme that you're going to see.
I would have said, and I feel like maybe it should have happened, is if Brett beat Yoko and then Owen beat Brett, that would have been awesome. Even if it was only a short run, just to kind of keep that belt away from Brett a bit longer.
I'm not going to split hairs because this.
I'm sorry, yeah.
But it's like, I agree with what you're saying, but I think either way it would have been a successful booking brigade. But I think there's a reason why, and we'll get to that much later. But one of the best matches I've ever seen.
100%, 100%, 5 out of 5, no messing around.
By the way, Andy, do you like the fact that Madison Square Garden kind of has this weird layout, a different layout as far as stage presence goes?
Yes,
Do you
I
appreciate
did.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just appreciate Madison Square Garden. It's just always. Do you think they're going to go to Madison Square Garden for 40?
No. Once they did the stadiums, they could do, 18 or 19,000, or you could fill 60,000. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Stockholders, baby.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it? It's sad, isn't it? Don't you think they go to MetLife again then, or they haven't announced
without a doubt
40, have they?
Yeah, without a doubt, they'll go back to MetLife.
Yeah. Or do you think the Bronx? Do you not think they could do it at Yankee Stadium?
They could, but then again, look, I'm a diehard Yankee fan. I don't even like going to Yankee Stadium.
Yeah,
I'd rather go to City. I'm dead serious. I'd rather go to City Field. And actually, believe it or not, one concert that I went to at City Field, where the Mets play, the lower team, we saw Foo Fighters. How's that God for? Yeah. How's that for a little bit? And so, rest in peace, Travis Hawkins.
Right. Well, anyway, this match, obviously, it's just a 5-star classic. If you haven't watched this match, you're not a wrestling fan. You need to go and watch this match. It is phenomenal.
Take a half hour out of your weekend or the week prior to WrestleMania and watch this. We have a great wrestling week coming up, but you could squeeze a half hour to go through the entrances, the match, and the exit. So it's a 20-minute match, but you're not going to be bored.
Mm-hmm.
So
20 minutes, 21 seconds to be precise. And then from the long to the short. And
good one.
I'm going to say good short match, but also how hilarious was this on the announcement? Bam Bam Bigelow and his main squeeze doing a first shot.
Yeah, look. We've spoken about Bam Bam before, not too much, but we've spoken about Luna more actually. But it's weird because you didn't have too many men versus women matches, right? At that point in time, but although Luna could probably kill about 85% of the locker room at that point. So mixing that style clashed. Now take into account that you're facing Doink the Clown and his little person sidekick Dink, then you're really having uncoordination at its max. You're going to do the trope of, I miss you, you're too small, darn. But nobody was on the same page. There's not really much to go into here.
The one thing I do want to ask on this is Dink Max Mini?
No, he wasn't actually, from what I understand.
Tarantula? He's got to be one of them.
I think was he Latino?
I don't know. Let's have a look at this, because this is going to do my head in this.
You know what I want to know? When your wife looks at your Google history and sees who is Dink, how are you going to explain that? Oh, just a midget clown wrestler. That's all. So,
oh god.
Look, Doink was a great worker, okay, and it was just always good to see him. Like he's always fun. This is when he wasn't a heel. The WrestleMania prior, he was heel Doink against Crush, bro. But now, those two switch, which is very interesting. But we see Bam Bam and Luna going over the top here, and they win. At the end, they both squash Dink and legit hurt somebody. It did not look good. That looked like it hurt, dude. I mean, Bam Bam was 300 some odd pounds and just landed on Dink. And
I know, but you know what Bam Bam's like? He probably didn't even hear him. Just let you know that he did play Macho Midget as well.
Oh, good.
Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. So do we go right into that? Oh no. Yes, we do go right into that.
Yeah,
correct?
We do go right into this match. Falls count anywhere match. Yeah.
Let me start off.
Confused the life out of me.
This was the original reason for this was the original rules of the Falls Count Anywhere match, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
You pin them, they got to get to the ring. This is how you book it. Okay. And I don't understand why they don't do this anymore. Now it's just mixed.
I didn't like it. Didn't like the concept.
Really?
No. And also, I thought he messed it up at the end as well.
Of course they did.
When he was meant to stay up there and he fell. He spent all that time trying to tie him up there and he just never even stuck.
Yeah, and that's where the finish was, and they planned that out. It's just, look, I liked Evil Crush. I thought that was cool. I wish I had the Hasbro. The Hasbro is what, like $200-300, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just get another Crush one and then paint it. But you know, Macho Man comes out. They were friends, you know, and now they're enemies. I think Crush actually, Macho brought Crush in, you know, because he was in Demolition. Then we got Kona Crush. That's how
they were friends and stuff, weren't they?
Yeah, they were close, man. You know, and Crush was just a good worker, just gimmick after gimmick after gimmick. You know, maybe he'll be on Team Taunt one day. Who knows? You know, that's another episode that we'll have in the bag, guys. We're gonna have a best of for our favorites here. So there's a few on there that we'll discuss. But good little match. Mr. Fuji's accompanying Crush here. Basically what it is you pin the guy somewhere, you have to go back to the ring. They have to answer the count within a minute to go back to the ring. This is the old stipulation. I understand the confusion though.
Do you want me to tell you something as well? Do you know Mr. Fuji? I was about 15 years old when I realized he was Hawaiian and not actually from Japan.
And then it was a trickle down effect, right? Like all you heard at that point were just like, oh, okay, everybody that's Japanese, you know, is Samoan.
Yeah, just broke me, mate. Absolutely broke me. But yeah, that was it. And then we'll move on from that match. But Macho Man gets the win here. Not a bad little match, not a great match. I don't think Macho Man suited this type of match.
No, the piss break was beforehand. The piss break was the match before, but
this was just an easing of it in, a lubrication match, I'd say.
Actually, you want to talk about lubrication match? You'll get dried right up when you see the next match of Alundra Blaze versus Leilani Kai. Hats off for JR saying that Leilani Kai is not a looker, and Leilani Kai would star in westerns if she had 2 more legs.
I've got it here. She looks like she looks like the Fabulous Moolah, Jordan the Attitude Era.
She looks like Moolah if she was a Brillo pad.
Yeah.
I kind of want to wash dishes with her.
Poor Alundra or Medusa. Poor Medusa.
It's okay. They'll right the ship later on in the year with Bull Nakano.
Yeah. Oh well. Obviously, Alundra gets the win here.
Yeah.
This
was another piss break here.
I mean, the other thing as well that I thought on this one was you've got Luna Vachon in another match there, in a stupid match there. Why not have her against Alundra?
They didn't have a woman there. They had I don't know. They just wasted.
It's just annoying for me, the fact that you've got Luna on that card. So it's like she could have been in that match.
They were definitely, people did not like Luna back there. You know, no. But let me, before we get into the next match, I have a poem for you. Okay.
Go on.
We're men on a mission. Are you ready? We're men on a mission. Here we go. We in the house. Men on a mission. Bam, boom, bang. Let's go.
Do you know one of my first observations of this match is King Mo looks no fucking different now than what he did then.
No, that's good. But the difference is that now he's naturally bald.
Yeah.
And back then he was actually, cutting his hair.
And I've also got rid of here. Mabel moves about the same as what he does now.
Do you know what the best part about this stuff is? That like you and I talk about, like, the casual wrestling fans or wrestling fans like you or I, they're abnormalities and freaks, and somehow we've gotten laid. And
we have proof. We both have kids.
Dude, it's shocker. This is the poster in Logan's room right now. I should do that, right? My wife walks in. She goes, "Is that Donnie Wahlberg?" Then she goes, "That's a big guy." I'm like, "Yeah," and he hurt people, everybody. We're not going to go into too much. I told her, I said, the other team is the ones that you love. And I wanted to tell her, like, you should see what John Pierre Lafitte looks like now. And, I had to actually look up who that was the first time I saw PCO. Because you cannot tell. He's just a mutant right now. PCO is just, come on, he's just a huge dude. But the Quebecers here with Johnny Polo.
I know, yeah. It's poor Raven.
Poor Raven. Who knows what Raven's liquid net worth is right now? Guy had a mind for the business. He was
just awesome, wasn't
he? Yeah, we love him. But Quebecers win this match in, wonderful fashion.
Tell you what, mate, didn't the Quebecers have the best entrance theme ever?
I'm the Mountie, and I always get my man.
Yeah, I'm handsome, I'm brave, I'm strong. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I love it, man.
Okay, doke. Well, then we get on to our first of two WrestleMania championship matches. They're drizzling shit. They're absolute shit.
Rest hold. Arm bar. No, I don't even think we might have said, arm bar, but Yoko.
Do you want me to tell you my one note I've got on this whole match? Paul Kurt. That's all I've got.
We can't even okay, so why was he a special guest referee? He was agreed upon, right? In kayfabe. And do you know why he couldn't really wrestle?
Yeah, because he had the Lloyd's of London payout, didn't he?
Yep. He couldn't do wrestling matches with that on him. But here's the interesting thing. So did Hawk and Animal from LOD. Animal got paid out with that Lloyd's of London. But why was he still able to wrestle? His Lloyd's of London policy covered him for singles matches. So if he could not be in a singles match, that's why he could still wrestle in a tag team.
Interesting.
Isn't that insane?
Interesting.
This match sucked though.
Yeah.
It's like Luger knew. He was just so disappointing looking. Like, it's just the fact that Vince said, "Hey, let me turn this guy babyface and let me ride the wave with this." This wave was short and
shite.
I mean, it was exciting. I remember that day I was watching on Independence Day when he body slammed Yokozuna. It was like, it was awesome. It comes onto the Intrepid and does that. It was a big thing here. I watched it live and I was so excited. Like, oh man, who is Luger? Because you remember him as a narcissist. But it was just the story to be told was just like, man,
I think also as well is people turn around and say about a person's personality and whatnot, yeah. And Luger was a dick, whichever way you look at it. And he wasn't a wrestling fan. He was just a bodybuilding fan. And I think that stuff in these times showed it because he didn't have that enthusiasm and it come across so much in all of his matches and everything else that went on with him.
I felt like every type of camera shot that we had, it just had Ico Pro over his shoulder.
Yeah.
It's, and get that tie shot in closer. Hey, big boy. But yeah, I will say this, our boy Todd Pettingill's in the back and he ends up cutting a promo with Yokozuna and Jim Cornette.
Jim Cornette on this promo is magnifique.
Wasn't it fantastic? It was probably the best. I want to write to him and ask him because I want to ask how dealing with Todd Pettingill was. But my wife again walked in and she sees the promo, but she sees Fuji. And now obviously the animosity's there because she's got another match and this promo is going on. But Fuji's in the back like this.
Banzai.
Yeah. It was just, I can't even go describe the visceral hate that Cornette had for Bret Hart. It's just it was probably one of the best promos that Cornette ever did And people can say promos are rambling. There's a lot of people that do that today. This was not rambling because it just made sense. When you look into the eyes of the it's one of my favorite promos ever.
Okay, well, we'll move on from there. Obviously, that means Yokozuna goes on to later in the night go against a certain Mr. Bret Hart in his second match of the night. Earthquake defeated Adam. Poor Brian Clark. Brian Clark. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah, and look, and I like Brian Clark a lot. Adam Bomb was cool when he was in Chronic. He was freaking great, just a big tough dude. I think he always got shit canned.
Yeah,
not fired, but like the Click really messed with him. Okay, let's put it out there. All right, they made fun of him when he got the Adam Bomb tattoo on him. Even Cornette said that's not a good idea, dude. But then the Click also messed up, or the NWO messed up the whole Blood Runs Cold storyline in WCW. The circumstances this guy had, I don't blame him for hating Scott Hall and Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
He said they were always cool with me. I mean, look at the size of him. But look, he was
he was an ex-Marine as well, wasn't he?
Yep, ex-Marine, actor, all this stuff. So I like Brian Clark a lot, man. I would like to get him on the show. So we got to make that happen.
Yeah, he's always active on Facebook, Brian. He's really, really good.
Yeah, I ordered that toy. I'm sorry, collectible. The collectible, the new one coming out of him.
Oh, the cello one?
Yeah. So I can't wait for that. I had the classic superstars of him and I sold it on eBay.
Well, just anybody who wants to know, I'm getting rid of some of my collection. So if anybody who wants to buy it, watches our videos, get in touch with me. I've got I've got a triple pack Maya Via set here. You ever seen it?
I have. It's wonderful. It's very fun. So look, we're nerding out right now, guys, but there will be at some point where I have to put up shelving that's above my cat's reach, and also so my wife doesn't look up in the annual event of maybe doing something fun, quote unquote, and then seeing these little dolls that she calls them. So I have to avoid that. But anyway, we go on here. By the way, Harvey Whippleman for the whole year prior was making fun of Howard Finkel.
Yes, Howard Finkel I was just going to mention that.
By the way, the Hair Club for Men president was at WrestleMania too. So there's the celebrity factor in there again.
I just couldn't believe the president was there.
Yeah, dude. And he had to answer the IRS.
A $1 million man. He has a section with him as well.
$1 million man. And they wanted, Jack Tunney was sitting next to him too. And that was, like you said, I think that was the last time Jack Tunney was shown on TV for us. Yeah. So, the president, Bill Clinton, was there. I mean, just always a great wrestling fan, loves it.
Let me ask you one question, right? I know that these WrestleManias nowadays are big spectacles in the stadiums and stuff like that. Do you think any WrestleMania feels important like this one did? Or the early ones did?
30 did. 35 because of where it was. I like the pirate ship theme. I went to 20. And it just goes to show you could still have one of the best manias without the spectacle of the theatrics there. I believe that it can be done. And it doesn't have to be quote unquote watered down.
Yeah.
It's you spoke with Elijah Burke the other day. Okay. And it was great job. But I will say this. He works for NWA right now. How much better, and you and I talked about it, this show doesn't have to go over the top. You have a stage. Here's where you interview people. I mean, the WWE has a budget to do whatever they want, but they started out with just here's a stage. Okay, here's the Heartbreak Hotel for an interview, something like that. You can do this. It's a formula for success. It's been proven over and over again. The barbershop. How can we forget about that? But Elijah Burke, that and guys like Nick Aldis, Matt Cardona now, Cyrus, that's the other thing. Like, you don't need to have a heavy production for success, and NWA proves that.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Right, well, we'll move on to the next match, and again, the hits just keep on coming on this card in terms of overall best of all time matches. We had the Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels in the first ever ladder match, and what a match it was.
Can't write about it. I love the fact that there's one ladder. There's one ladder, and I like that. It's not let's line up the ladders all over so somebody could grab one. By doing that, you're eliminating, you're creating spots because people could jump on one ladder to another, but you're taking away from the actual gimmick by creating more. Less is more, guys. Okay. Yeah. We talked about a couple weeks ago how the spot in Bulldog versus Warlord was the full Nelson. The spot in this one was how are they going to use a ladder? You needed one. You just needed one, guys.
Yeah, we did.
I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I totally agree with you. I really do. And I think that the way they used this ladder as well, everything was put somewhere for a reason. It wasn't, they didn't do this stuff where it was like, well, let's balance it against here so we can throw someone onto it and all this type of stuff. It was just, it was being like, Razor hit Shawn with it, then he put it against the side of the ring and then flipped him into it. It all meant something. It wasn't just there to kind of move it around to set up a future spot or something like that. It was quite relevant during the whole match, wasn't it? This ladder, which the whole match was around, which it should be.
You know what I would love to see? AEW could do this and should do this, because then it'll actually get the ball rolling, if you ask me. If you have a tag team title match with FTR, not putting names out there, FTR says, let's do a ladder match. One ladder. That's all you need. I don't need, Luchasaurus could go up there and Jungle Boy could go up there, given the talent that's there now. And you don't need 900 teams doing it.
No, and I tell you what a quality finish this was.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. I mean, people could say, oh, Michaels kind of looked like an idiot there, but why? Because he got tied up in the ropes and then tried to get himself out and
tried his hand into it. Yeah.
I mean,
it was quality. It was absolute quality. I don't give a shit what anyone says.
It's storytelling. Yeah. People just want to write books every single match. Sometimes you just need to write a chapter. And the good thing in this one was that it was ending a book, but it was the last chapter. You had two different titles that these guys were fighting over, and you had an undisputed belt.
Which one do you think was the best? This one or the SummerSlam one?
This one, bar none, because there was nothing like it at the time. I think I love the SummerSlam one was great too.
Yeah, but this was the first, wasn't it? So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it just fucking 10 out of 10, bro. Come on, it's just Razor Ramon. This is the image that people want of him.
Yeah.
So we're not too far removed from his passing. And if you're going to, somehow recap a match, this is it here. This pay-per-view here.
100%. And then we move on to the main event of the evening. Bret Hart done a great job in this one. It was never going to be the best match because I think at this time Yoko was on his way down, wasn't he? Sadly, but if anyone was going to get a half decent match, it was always going to be Bret. Didn't like the finish though.
Nope. No. Very all of a sudden out of nowhere, Roddy Piper was brought in as the guest referee. I to be honest, I forgot that there was a reason for that, but I just didn't care. But anyway, Piper did a good job. He knew what he was doing. Piper is a very smart man in the business, and took his paychecks without trying to really get hit. I think a year later he would actually be in a car chase with somebody, but anyway, Bret Hart goes over here and with a roll up because Yokozuna stumbles. It's not just about the match that I'm really excited about here. Obviously you have the theatrics of Bret selling the leg the whole time because Owen kicked the leg out of the leg again. Cornette was great on the outside. Fuji was great on the outside. They were the heels that were foiled by Bret Hart, and Bret just kept fighting back. Yeah. And there was a couple hope shots. There's not too many rest holds that Yoko did, in the prior match on the day. But, Yoko was gassed. And that's why he would team up with Owen later on in the year. Yeah. It was just, brilliant. Wasn't it? I'm sorry. Owen
perfect.
Owen and Yoko was great.
Absolutely perfect, mate.
But Bret gets the win. I like the fact that the rest of the locker room comes out to celebrate this. Okay. And the best closing to a WrestleMania happens afterwards.
With Owen.
Yeah. I mean, the imagery there, because the broadcasters were silent. Owen won earlier in the day. And there he is watching his brother get celebrated. Owen doesn't say anything.
Yeah. But straight away, your own mind goes on that, doesn't it? And I'm thinking, he's sitting there thinking, well, I've beat you and you still managed to come out on top. And it's like, perfect. Just perfect.
Greatest story. It's the greatest story that one of the greatest stories that WWF has ever told. Yep. And it's natural because, you had brothers. It's a natural rivalry. It's something that you think about, and these two guys they told the story in the ring prior. They kind of closed that book, or so we thought, and I think later on that year, we would also have in SummerSlam, we would have Bret and Owen in a cage, right?
We would, yeah. That's SummerSlam that same year.
I mean, that one right there is just... all right, so we're going to end this pay-per-view just on that high note of just seeing the image of over Owen's shoulder looking up at Bret as Macho Man's holding him up, and I think maybe Bob Holly in there too.
Yeah. And he tries to get a prominent camera angle, Bob Holly, doesn't he? Watch him. The next time you watch it back, and he's really trying to wiggle his way in there.
Oh, Sparky Plug. He's just a feisty one, isn't he? Andy, what do we say?
For me, it's got to be top notch because of the two matches on there. Because it's Bret winning the title, which I always wanted when I was younger. And because of our own Bret match and Shawn Michaels Bret match, I'm going to give it a 5.
Yep. Yeah. There's duds on here, guys.
But they're not memorable. Yeah, they're not memorable, and that's the thing, is you can't always hit a home run and everything, but the home runs were that good that it, you don't realize the strikeouts are still there. You never remember them until you watch it back again. Do you know what I mean?
Andy's been doing his baseball and homework and softball homework too. But sometimes you need a sacrifice bunt player to get to that home run guy, to get the man on base too for a single. But we'll talk about that another time. My cricket loving friend.
Well, that one's in the bag, guys. If you haven't watched this, go back and watch it. Right, everyone always gives a bit of a stick to the new generation and all this stuff, but this is at its best. I think this is where it peaked. Really did peak at this point, and then this is probably the best you're going to see before the Attitude Era, in my opinion.
I'm just hoping that some matches this next weekend will actually take place. You guys will be able to watch with us on WrestleBuddy. You'll be able to see us all interact. We would love to have you there. Also, we need some comments. We just want to talk to you guys and have a discussion rolling, and join the Facebook page too.
We know you're fucking watching. We know you're watching, and we know a lot of you are watching to the fucking end. So speak to us. Hello.
Yeah. Absolutely. Even if we don't speak German, we're cool, man. Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Aye. German Scheiße.
Oh, those are my favorite films.
Right, guys. Well, thanks for watching anyway. We appreciate it as always. And we will be back at the same time, same place next week. Hit the like and subscribe button if you're new. If you're still with us from the beginning, we love you. Keep watching us. But from me and Dale, until next time, guys, take care and enjoy your WrestleMania weekend.
Absolutely.